labadan diblumaasi oo caanka Maraykanka si aad ahna uga hadla arrimaha gobolka Geeska Afrika ee Somaliland ku taalo ayaa khudbado ka jeediyay xuska lagu qabtay Washington DC. ugu horreyn waxaa halkaasi ka hadlay ambassador Taybernagi waxaanu shacabka iyo dawladda Somaliland ku hambaliyay xuska 12 guurada madaxbanaanida ee 18 May. ambassador Nagi waxa uu ka warramay taariikhda Somaliland iyo xilliga uu ku baraarugay jiritaankeeda iyo soo laba kacleynteedaba.
I was Assistant Secretary of State. I knew all of the ambassadors from Africa. And I have to tell you that he is the hardest working. He represents his community better than anybody else. So, Mr. Ambassador, congratulations. I have to tell you a little story about Somaliland. When I was U.S. Ambassador to Ethiopia, 1999, I had never heard of Somaliland. Can you imagine? I'm ambassador to Ethiopia. I don't know that Somaliland exists. And then I met a wonderful, wonderful gentleman named President Cigaal. President Cigaal. And he educated me on this little country, which is right next to Ethiopia, which on its own moved forward, received no assistance, but was thriving. And then September 11th, 2001 happened, the terrorist attacks in New York. And President Cigaal came to see me again.
1991 markii aan ahaa safiirka Maraykanka Addis Ababa anigoo aan ka warqabin jiritaanka dalkan yar ee Itoobiya ku garab yaala waxaan la kulmay madaxweyne Cigaal waxaanu i baray dalka Somaliland waxaanu ii sheegay inay hore u soconayso iyadoon cidna caawin ayuu yiri ambassador Taybernagi waxaanu intaasi ku daray wixii ka dambeeyay weerarkii argagixiso ee 11 September 2001 Maraykanku waxa uu bilaabay inay Somaliland ka wada shaqeeyaan la dagaalanka argagixisada inkastoo xilliga Cigaal ku yeedhay
President, because Somaliland does not have a terrorism problem.
Maraykanka Somaliland ma qabto dhibaato argagixiso.
Absolutely crazy. And he said, "You mean if we had a terrorism problem, then America would help us?" I said, "Yes. That's how crazy politics has been." Well, I retired in 2003, and I did more research on Somaliland, and I taught about Africa, and I told my students about Somaliland, but I had never, ever been to Somaliland until we don't work with them. Can you imagine?
Nagi waxa kale uu sheegay inuu ilaa xilliga la socday xaaladda Somaliland sanadkii horena uu ku tagay booqasho uu fududeeyay safiirka Somaliland u fadhiya Maraykanka Bashir Sheikh Umar Good
last year. And then Ambassador Bashir made it possible for me to visit. And I have to tell you, everything I read, everything I thought, it was wrong because Somaliland was so much better than anything I expected. I have to tell you, my first impression in the I'm Hungarian. I came here as a political refugee like many of you, but in the United States, my home is Texas. Any of you from West Texas? Anybody been to Texas? Bless you, yeah. Okay, any of you know West Texas? Lubbock, Amarillo, okay. All right, so you can imagine landing in Hargeisa.
waa dal qurux badan markii garoonka diyaarada ee Hargeysa ay nala fadhiisatay diyaaradda Ethiopian Airlines ayaan daaqada ka eegay waxay ila eekaatay galbeedka Texas ayuu yiri.
So I said to Ambassador Bashir, I know I will like this place because it reminds me of home. Now, I have to tell you, the biggest thing that I learned, and you have my absolute respect, it's one thing more than anything else, is self-reliance. I have never in my life seen a country, a nation, as Piero said, that has so much self-reliance. One of the first days we were there, we went to see the Wahi market. Horrible. Any assistance from the United States? No. no assistance really from countries, but you, the Somaliland community, paid incredible amounts of money to help Wahid market. So thank you and God bless you for what you are doing. Then Piero mentioned Berbera.
waxaan intaasi ku daro oo uu ka warramay in fikir kasta oo xun oo uu ka haystay Somaliland uu isbedelay markii uu soo arkay jaamacadaha lana kulmay maayirrada magaalooyinka kala duwan oo kala matalaya asxaab kala duwan.
The mayor of Berbera, young man, dynamic. He could be a mayor in any city in the world. He is so good. And he's there in Berbera. So then another thing, your educational institutions. We visited Hargeisa, University of Hargeisa. We visited Gabile Library. And then we visited the University of Amud. And Somaliland is doing it right. The people are young and you know the value of education. I wish other countries could get that. But you know what else we saw in Amud? The mayor of Amud and the governor are from two different political parties. One is the ruling party, the other is from the opposition. And they get along great. They work together for the benefit of Amud. I wish politicians in the United States of America could cooperate like that. So, thank you very much.
safiirka hore ee Maraykanka u joogay gobolka harooyinka waaweyn ee Afrika Dr. J. Peter Vam oo isaguna halkaasi ka hadlay ayaa ka warramay taariikhda Somaliland ee ku xidhiidhsan xornimadii 60kii midowgii fashilmay ee Soomaaliya iyo doorka ay xilligan Somaliland ku leedahay siyaasadda gobolka Geeska Afrika iyo caalamkaba. Waxa uu sheegay in nidaamka dimuqraadiga ah ee ka jira Somaliland uu soo jiitay dalalka reer galbeedka ee Taiwan taageera taasina keentay xiriirka diblumaasiyadeed ee Hargeysa iyo Taipei.
As many of you know, tried to make a case for Somaliland's recognition, as Dr. Osman raised the point earlier, the importance of that recognition, the righteousness of that recognition. And one can make the case in various ways. And I won't belabor it, but there's certainly a legal case to be made. Somaliland received its independence from the United Kingdom by an exchange of letters presented to Parliament by command of Her Majesty the late Queen. Recognition was extended on that 26th of June 1960 by a number of countries, including the United States, via letter by then Secretary of State Christian Herbert. And interestingly enough, as many of you know the history, even the courts of the Union with Somalia Italiana recognized the nullity of the Union when in 1963, Justice Hazelwood, sitting in Mogadishu, acquitted Hassan Kite and his fellow indictees for the attempted coup on the basis that they couldn't be tried for treason against a union that was invalid from the start, and they were free. So the legal case Dr. Naj spoke about that Somaliland has had since 1991, there's a moral case to be made. There's of course the political case that can be made. When it's in the interest of the international community to encourage state building in Africa amidst a crisis of state legitimacy, Somaliland presents a wonderful example. And if we're talking politics, the impossibility of putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. It's not going to happen. Let's be realistic. But as an American, I think we also have some key interests. A strategic case to be made. The security that Somaliland provides gratis to the international community and to the region, because it doesn't get the support it needs on the security front, but does it anyway. And also the aligned interests. My friend Piero spoke earlier about Somaliland's relationship with another democracy unrecognized on the other side of the world, the Republic of China on Taiwan. So in an era of geopolitical competition, the aligned interests provide a case. So legal, moral, political, and strategic reasons that I think altogether add to, despite perhaps some despair, despite some frustration, I think that the recognition that Dr. Osman spoke about earlier, the need for, the case for, I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And that's not wishful thinking. I think it's the reality based on these things. So I want to leave you with just 6 points as we wait for that day that we all hope to see. Somaliland's recognition of the family of nations, the recognition for what has been achieved, the recognition that's come in all sorts of other spheres, including the great news this week that my dear friend Dr. Edna Adan received the Templeton Prize this year. All that great news. And so with apologies for mangling it, I'd like to borrow 6 proverbs from the collection that I inherited from my old teacher, Ian Lewis. And I think this is my advice to Somaliland as a friend of many years. First proverb I'd leave you with. Ilku wadajir baibak kuguyan. Teeth bite something only when they bite together. Maintain the progress, especially on good governance, democratization, elections, and unity, because that's your strength. Second proverb, Professor Lewis. Abu Ningala Wala Arka Ningudasi Lama Arak. Those who accept a favor have been seen, but those who pay back are none. Be transactional. When you do things for the international community, my advice, and I've given this advice, and Ambassador Bashir knows, get something in return. Don't wait for gratitude. So, thank you for your attention. Thank you for this privilege of being with you, not only this night, but throughout this long path, and may that day that we all hope for come sooner rather than later. Thank you.
cuntada dibadda uga timaada saameyn weyn ayay ku leedahay caafimaadka iyo nolosha ummadda Soomaalida waxaana ku baxa dhaqaale aad u tiro badan oo lagu qiyaasay $100 milyan sanad walba haddaba sharikadda Roobron ayaa hadda gacanta ku haysa hirgelinta dalagga ugu baaxadda weyn dhammaan deegaanada Soomaalida Roobron oo isticmaalaysa qalabka casriga ah ee biyaha u qaybiya dalagga beeraha ayaa waxa ay soo saaraysaa qamadi iyo midhaha saliidda oo ay ka iibinayso warshadaha daqiiqda iyo warshadaha saliidda taasi oo khusaysa dhammaan dadka faa'iido doonka ah ee dhaqaale abuurka ku xeel dheer iyo haddii aad xiisaynayso inaad saami dhaqaale ku yeelato sharikadda Roobron wixii macluumaad ee dheeraadana kala xiriir www.roobron.com